Hello, it's me, Zach from Aunty Donna. I'm the weird one that gets a little too highfalutin and intellectual. We got Crazy Mark and Grumpy Broden. And today we're going to be doing Watch Along with Aunty Donna, episode 6. Now, the way this works is we're going to be watching episode 6 of Aunty Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun, only on Netflix. But we're going to need you to pull up the show on your own Netflix account because it's quite hard to screen capture Netflix. So what we're going to need you to do is go to your Netflix account, search for Aunty Donna or Aunty Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun, pull that up, go to episode 6, scroll back all the way to the start if you've already watched it. So it's 00.00. I'm going to count down from 6 in honor of this being the 6th episode. When I say go, not 1, so I'll say 1 and then go. We will all press play at the same time, and then we're going to watch the show, talk about the show in the style of DVD commentaries of the early 2000s, or watching films at home with your friends, which has been something people have done since, at least the early 80s, earlier if you count Super 8. So let's do this. I hope you've already pulled up the episode. I hope you're ready to go. We're certainly ready to go. And now I'll count down. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Netflix.
And it's the classic Netflix scene. Comes up, and those colours are actually representative of like tubes in TV.
Right. Yeah, right.
We said to Netflix, we sent them an email early on in the edit and said, could we open with the Quibi logo instead? And they said, no, that's a hard no from us. Which is a bit weird.
My name is Gary Lyon for this, who's a football player for the Melbourne Football Club in Australia. He was a star of the 90s.
And we've been making jokes about since very early YouTube days. There's a little Gary Lyon reference. This was a very successful stage sketch that we've been doing for a number of years. And we actually, it's one of those weird things where like, we always had so much stuff at the start. There's this big intro to this sketch where we're sort of like a lot of setup. And we shot all of that, and that was all in the edit. And it was, I don't know, this was a really interesting one for me because it just felt like it was dragging. Not that it ever really felt that way in the stage show. But we ended up just cutting all this exposition from the start and just getting straight into the gags. And we were so worried that it would make the sketch not work. But it's so fine. And it's just a very good lesson in adapting stage shows to screen. It's funny how much less stuff you need to make something work on screen than you do on stage.
Because you got the visual cues. It's something I have to remind myself of all the time because it's my worst quality. I'm the least of a writer out of the writers. But when I write, it's my worst quality. It's so many words and so much exposition, and it's like, and you guys are constantly saying it's like the visual tells the story. Unlike theater, you've got visuals conveying things that you don't need to convey with a page of dialogue. And it's very, very true.
I just want to say one of my favorite jokes in the whole series.
I've been getting messages.
Pardon?
Oh, sorry. I've been getting a lot of messages for this line. Completely destroyed my voice there, and then that's why I had to do post-record for
Alan.
For Alan. Anyway, go on, Mark.
Sorry. I just love how Broden... Oh, yeah, this is repeat footage, which I love. I love how Broden looks at the bar, the $1 billion bar, like he's looking at it, and it's such a subtle joke. And I don't know why you did that when you were shooting at Broden, but it worked out so beautifully in the edit, and it's a joke I really love.
I think from very early on, I was like, "There's got to be a bar," and everyone's like, "No." And I was like, "There's got to be a bar." And then we show. I'm like, "I'm looking at a bar," and then like it wasn't in the end. I'm like, "All right, hey, I have a crazy idea. What if there's a fucking bar there?" And it was like, "Oh, like,
bless you, funny man. I love that. I love it so much."
We inserted this shot here of Mark. Because the
What?
pause wasn't quite long
Oh
enough.
yeah, the pause
What's
wasn't
that?
quite long enough. Yes.
It was like, oh, it's not quite long enough. Let's insert a shot of Mark. So that's why there's a shot of Mark going.
Aunty Donna. This sketch was a nightmare to edit and to
Yeah, I
shoot.
can imagine.
Conceptually, from day one, it was such a head fuck.
It has a lineage to a sketch called "That's What You Get" or "Talking Behind a Friend's Back,"
which was if we were allowed, that's one of two sketches in our back catalogue that I would have loved to have just reshoot word for word, shot for shot, and put into this series, but we weren't allowed to. So we wanted to write something that riffed on a similar idea. Yeah.
Because there was a point where we were... There was.
Real spoon polish, and while we were doing it, the spoons were getting more polished.
They were.
And I was like, this is sick.
Fun fact. My other shirt, when I play the other Zach, was in high contention for the Zach shirt. We really struggled to find the Zach shirt. And I remember that was in high consideration, that orange number, and it just didn't feel right. So Emily went and found that red shirt that we all know and love today, and couldn't imagine anything else.
Well, we really had to. The editing was just me and Santiago sitting in a fucking room, banging our heads against the wall, trying to get this thing to work, because there were other characters. There was a third Mark at one point.
I remember I watched this. Oh, sorry, go.
Whole sketch originally ended with us. That glass I'm touching is all three of us like making out with it at the same time, and it was a bit much.
Yeah, it wasn't quite working. It wasn't quite, and it took us a very long time to like find an end. It was a lot of like creative thought, and that last shot is actually like this reversed shot where I'm not actually looking in the right direction, and we manipulated it all to find this ending. I'm really happy with it in the end. What we found.
I remember I wasn't in the room for that edit, very much so, and when I saw that cut, it was one of those amazing things where there was a lot of jokes that if I'd been in the room, I would have been like, "Oh, that's a good joke. Maybe we should keep that joke. That's a good joke." It's a great example of killing your darlings. Just like so many bits that were good in the script, but needed to go for the edit.
Silly sausage, I really like, but let's just jump ahead. Paul F. Tompkins, he was just he was a really nice man.
Oh man, and I would say elevated a good sketch to a really great sketch. Like, I always really liked this sketch, but I was very nervous as well.
I think he was the person I was most nervous for in the whole series. And I don't know why. I think I really like him a lot, and he was in lots of other cool shows. And I just really, 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 really respect him. And we don't really know him. And it was just really scary. I was really scared this whole bit.
Do you know, I wasn't initially. I was like, oh, I'm sure he's fine. It's fine. And then I was sitting in the makeup chair, and he sat across from me. And then he was like, I can't do Paul F. Tompkins, but oh, hi there. And I was like, oh, that's not a character.
That was
I always
amazing,
thought
by the
his
way.
voice, I always thought he did. What's that?
That was an incredible Paul F. Tompkins.
Don't be silly. I always thought that Paul F. Tompkins was like a character on top with the same name, but he literally talks like that. That's how he wore a suit to set. And he talked like Mr. Peanut Butter, like Paul F. Tompkins. And that I flipped into exactly what Broden's describing. I was like, if this is the real man and this is not a character, I can't handle this. This is too much. And and he was lovely. He was so lovely. And I was struggling with my lines, and it was an awful day.
And all the baby stuff was all him, all improv. We were like, please just go, just do whatever you want. And he did. And so much of it made it into the edit. Now this is the first joke I ever had, and the first thought I ever had when we found out that we got the series. And I'm so happy it made it in. This is one of those moments for me where it was just like, you know, as soon as it was greenlit and I was driving home that day because we took the afternoon off, it was the first thing that I think I pulled my car over to write it down. I was like, wouldn't it be great if this happened? And when we got to shoot it, it was a real surreal moment for me because I was like, oh fuck, it's all happening. It's all happened, hasn't it?
I love that joke.
I love it so much.
A lot of great jokes in that sequence. That joke, and then obviously the cunt joke.
Oh, the cunt joke is incredible.
I love this sketch as well.
This sketch, we will put the outtakes for up at some point, but this is the most I laughed on set. And if you look at either Mark or I, for this whole bit, whoever's not talking is about to laugh.
Or laughing.
This whole bit. And this was a sketch that, like, it's okay in the show. Like, it's an okay sketch, but, like, the long cut is the funniest thing ever, but it's just too long for a TV show.
Unfortunately. There was a lot that got cut and a lot of good stuff and a lot of stuff that we couldn't fully use because we were just laughing so much. Because we just went so real with it. But I adore this sketch, and I think it came up really, really well, and I'm really happy with it because I think the conceit is so strong. And I've had a lot of people tell me it's their favorite sketch in the series.
Oh, that's good.
Great.
Yeah.
Because I just was so worried it wouldn't read. This was another one where, like, exactly when the music drops out was a challenge. Exactly, like, how you convey the descent is so hard, and it not being a snap, but a descent.
I want to say here.
Yeah, from my experience here, right? So what I did is I ran out of the car and then I ran backwards and then I got into a van that was following these guys and picking up the GoPro and the audio in a van behind them. And just, they went for like an hour. My favorite Broden corpsing moment is coming up, I think, or maybe I've missed it.
There's a few. It was really, it's me covering every time I go to cover my mouth.
I forgive you. I forgive.
He's looking out the window. They're there. And then here.
Oh man, like everyone in the van was just pissing themselves. It was so funny, just driving in loops around Los Angeles, getting a live feed at each other.
It fully just comes through. I can't believe it's already. It's so much longer than this. This comes from Mark and I both being in cars with aggressive dads.
Yeah, just our parents would we both grew up with parents screaming at each other on every car trip we ever went on. And so we both just had a wealth of material to draw on and trauma.
Do you know Lord Whoopee? Funny fact about Lord Whoopee. When you said that thing about getting on it in episode 5, or like here's trouble, you should do a sketch about that.
Yeah, I
remember this came from someone saying to me, gave some of my nieces and nephews a whoopee cushion, and someone said to me, they were sitting on the whoopee cushions, and someone said to me, "You can make a sketch out of that." I was like, what, people sitting on whoopee cushions? Because when you're a sketch comedian, you get that a lot. Like, you get that a lot, like to the point that there's a sketch by Peak Show guys. I'm having a mental blank. I love them. I keep thinking Penn and Teller. Who's the sketch
Penn and
duo?
Teller. It is
Peak Show, Penn and Teller. No, Penn and Teller's
Mitchell and
Webb. They have a sketch about people pitching sketches to you when you're a sketch comedian. And I just remember someone saying to me, you can make a sketch out of people sitting on whoopee cushions, and just thinking, not really. And then I wrote it down because I was like, I'm just, for once in my life, I'm going to take one of those recommendations.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it. And then we did it, and it's all right.
The whole conceit of this on stage is it's kind of falling apart. That's how Mr. Lord Whoopee works on stage. Is you get people, it's like it's all falling apart. And this was like without an audience, we had to kind of relook at it, and I think we figured out a pretty cool way to do it. The whole editing of this was just sharpening, and putting music in and giving it drive, and I think it came out well.
Yeah, I fucking love it. It's really good.
Yeah.
just a form sketch. The voiceover here is a guy called Dave Jargowski, who is he's the producer at Comedy Bang Bang, and he when we did like test play readings, screenings, like we read the scripts out to people to test like jet gags and stuff in America, and he read all the big print, all the like stage directions, and he had a really good voice, and we got obsessed with him saying it, and so we got him to record. So that's actually the producer of the show doing that line.
The best part is when he first started recording, he was doing Broden doing him. He was like doing what he thought we wanted him to do, and we had to go, no, just read it normal.
Your voice,
it's funny.
The way you did it at the reading.
We're quite obsessed with like people saying things quite like I love whenever Max reads in things for us. I think that's going to be in a video coming up. Is just temp audio for edits is my favorite thing. This is a great joke. I think Mark wrote this.
Yeah. It was one of those things where like I was doing a draft on Tiny Man. I was doing the first draft on Tiny Man. And then I was like, I'll write a little intro. And that intro just started spiraling for me and getting to this thing. And it was one of my favorite writing days because I remember I brought this in and it just made everyone laugh a lot. And I was like, again, I was like, this will get cut. This is a thing that I'm writing that it'll get cut, but it just read so well in the room. I was like, fuck yeah.
I remember that's probably one of my all-time favorites, sending someone off to write and then them adding a page out of nowhere of just like, what is this joke? This still makes me laugh so much. And I love straight face stuff. We don't do a lot of straight face. We don't do a lot of straight face, and we don't do a lot of playing the integrity in contrast to the silly.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things to do when I write is to not write for me because I know your tone so well. It's a lot easier for me sometimes to just remove myself and go, oh, Zach's going to be perfect at this and Broden's going to be perfect at this, and write to those tones. And then hearing you guys read it for the first time and just nail it because it's been written for you. It's a really thrilling experience.
It's me reacting to one of you shitting yourself and one of you pissing yourself. Let's move on to Tiny Man.
Tiny Man was it took a long time to get right, and was one that we shot when we hadn't fully finished writing it. We knew the beats of it, but we hadn't gotten it. It was so difficult to just get the exact wording right for it to translate the joke. Because it's one of those ones where like the idea is fun, but how do we make it funny? You know? It took a long time.
Two of my favorite gags in the series, just in terms of how niche our tastes are, two of my favorite gags in the series are in Tiny Man. One is the slow zoom, the Young Ones style practical effect slow zoom and fade to the corner.
Yeah.
And just the levels of specificity. I've never been more in sync with a person. Me and Broden just knew what that shot was and would just tell people, and they'd be like, is it like this? And like, we didn't even have to discuss it. I just remember just being like, no. Talk to Broden. We just like, we saw it so clearly. We're like, it's a slow zoom and a crossfade as it slow zooms into the practical set that doesn't quite match the full. Like, we knew exactly what it was, and then also I love the percentage joke because percentage is relative to size. The size of a percentage of a stock doesn't change based on the size of a man.
Yeah.
And I love that joke because it doesn't work all the way back to loving things that don't work. Someone with a maths inclined brain, their brain would explode at that percentage thing.
Tawny, Newsom, and Brendan and Iffy. Just fucking God, this was so much fun.
That shot is a reference. The reference is Death of Stalin, when the general of Russia, I forget his name, comes in. There's like a direct thing of that. Do you know what I remember from the gravy bits? All this is the jumper you had on for it.
Yeah,
fucking stunk for like 3 days, and every time we're in it fucking stunk so fucking bad, and I still smell it when I see it.
For the entire shoot, I had to do I did the whole day because we shot that first. So I did the whole rest of the shoot with gravy in my beard and cream in my hair, and I was so embarrassed being around all these incredible fucking performers and reeking like fucking old meat. It was fucked.
You know my favorite thing to do, I've decided. My favorite thing to do on set is being off camera, not the one performing, when we're feeding in. Sometimes we'll just like feed in lines. And I think it's my favorite thing to do. And there's a few moments in this that like of that where some
England
of my favorite moments.
That was you.
Queen of England, yeah. That's what made me think of it. One of my favorite, like some of my favorite moments or some of my favorite like things that I've ever done are off camera feeding in. And then likewise when you're in it, you kind of, there's a certain pressure. There's nothing I love more than being fed a great line from off camera. It's something we do that we don't talk about a lot.
Yeah.
But I absolutely adore it. Just being like, there's lots of clips of us just like, just standing there going, give me a joke.
Yeah, that's where I've been cancelled 7 times or whatever it is. That was Broden. We're just shooting it, and then Broden just turns to me while we're shooting. He's like, "Can you say this line?" I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah."
I just want to mention on this very quick. Ben Russell got off a plane in the morning and then came to set, and we made him take off his shirt and put nipple tassels on. It was real funny
in front of one of his absolute heroes, Tompkins.
Pretty funny thing to do.
I love this bit.
Again, another similar to the pirate ending. This is an ending that has this like feeling of something earned that's absolutely not in any way as a big success for the boys.
I love the final shot. This was a Santiago thing, wasn't it? The final shot.
Yes, it was.
End on a shot of Iffy, and I remember there being a lot of conversation in the editing room, like, surely for the final shot we should end on a shot of us. The final shot of the entire series. Which I just love the fact that we end on someone's pecs.
And then what's great about this little MCU bit, I've been obsessed about doing an MCU bit in I remember, do you guys remember I pitched originally, wouldn't it be great if at the end of the series the credits start and then at the end it goes back to us sitting in the house and then we're just doing something and then we all start turning to dust and fading like at the end of Infinity War and then we start screaming, "Oh, we're in the MCU! We're in the MCU!" and then we fade.
And then I remember saying something along the lines of, "That's great. I don't think this is going to be out for 2 years."
That'll never happen.
Which is like this will be out in 2 years' time, and people will be like, "Oh, I think I remember that being a thing."
For me, that's even better. For me, that's even better personally.
That's so funny.
Very dumb joke.
Love to hear in the comments what show was recommended to you after our show. I got recommended, or Mark got recommended, The Crown, which is a great show. And I think with the Queen link, maybe the algorithm's thinking they're, watch a bit of The Crown. So we'd love to know what show got recommended to you in the comments.
The first one that comes up for me now, Netflix comes up, and then it goes to a screen of Hillbilly Elegy.
That is an incredible cast. My goodness me. I love that.
Yeah.
That looks like the old early 2000s American indie film that we just don't see much of anymore.
What's Amy Adams been doing? I'm keen to see a bit of Amy Adams.
Glenn Close. There's a great thing, people talk about how Netflix has killed theatrical distribution in the independent space, but simultaneously has invigorated independent filmmaking. So, wow, what a complex argument that is. And not for here. I'm sorry. I gotta stop. Keep that for your solo stuff, Zach. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. As a special treat for sticking around, we have a link for you, an exclusive link, which I have to then go and copy into everything.
A lot of people saying, just very quickly, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
A lot of people saying, when's season 2? If you want a season 2, make 5 friends who haven't watched it, watch it, please.
Yes. Yes. That's genuinely the only way we're going to get a season 2 is if people watch the show. So share it tell your fucking parents, whoever it is, get them to watch it, because we'd love to make more of these.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tell all your friends. This is a thing to be an advocate for. So this is great. I'm gonna just set all this up. I might just go live with it. How do you do that? Keep filling, guys. Keep filling. I'll come in.
Mark.
Yeah.
Let's engage with the comments. I'm gonna read some YouTube comments.
All right, let's do it.
A lot of people have said they rewatched it, right? Which I like. It's 2 hours, and I think it is. It's a rewatchable show. There's a lot of shows that I don't I only rewatch Moneyball, but there's so much shit going on in this show. I think it's good to rewatch. But you don't have to. I don't know what I'm saying. A lot of people said to me, "Why isn't Man Beast in the show?" And Man Beast is a really hard one for us because it's like he only works. It's like a weird thing. Like the character is built on like Broden being insecure, so he takes on this Man Beast role. But then also the Man Beast role, like it's hard to write How would you write it into the show?
You just have to do exactly the same thing we did with
99.
99 and with the Italian character. I think you can absolutely do him. It's the thing you've got to start from the start and then he can go off on his journey, but it has to start from that place of insecurity. So that original joke of nicknames, which is again in the trailers and video, I love that gag so much. The idea that we all have nicknames and that's where the whole character started from that place. I think you've got to kind of go back to something that basic of like, what's our character name? What's our sort of thing? But I think there's definitely space. You've just got to reintroduce. You've got to give him a debutante. You've got to give Man Beast a debutante. Introduce him to society.
Because even in 99, like Man Beast almost didn't make it into 99. It was like we had a sketch about tossing people, which we thought was funny, and then we had this other Man Beast sketch that we couldn't get to work, and then somewhere in the development we were like, well, both of those sketches aren't working, but once we put them together, then like something really nice happened. So it's sort of there's also that possibility to make Man Beast work, is you have a sketch, you have a joke, or you have something, and then you sort of layer him into it almost, He's a hard, like Pizza Man, I think he's a hard character to just write a sketch for, as opposed to the idea needs to come separately almost, and then he needs to go on top of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, like Man Beast, people think Man Beast is just a silly, goofy character. And he is, but the whole joke is it's about insecurity. Same with Italian Man. It's a silly, goofy character, but unless it's informed by that element of... But I think there will be more Man Beast in future.
Yeah, we just got to have the right idea, because we don't want to repeat ourselves. We don't want to just do like the same joke, like we don't just want to do another Man Beast tossing sketch, but like slightly change it. We want to come up with something that's a little bit different for it.
Any other great questions in the comments, or just lots of like...
Everyone's very lovely, to be honest.
Yes, people have been very kind. Lovely. One person's very glad we didn't do the MCU joke. I agree. It's just a little funny thing for Mark.
You got to understand, when he was pitching it was inside the don't spoil the endgame period. All we were talking about was it was before that. All we were talking about was that ending. We thought that was going to be a cultural moment for years to come. So it seems out of date now, but back then it was not. All right, I'm going to get this link, everybody. So
we got a special little treat for you.
It's gone live now. We've got a special little treat for you. I'm about to post this link across the different socials. But basically what we've gone and done is we've gone and made a little, if you're an old fan, Egg Bloopers 2. But really what this is it's the Egg Helms bloopers. We improvised a lot around this sketch. So we've got lots of bloopers of of just us riffing around egg helms. Mostly just me losing my mind. You can't get me near a script with the word egg in it and expect me to like not be just unprofessional. But we've got egg bloopers.
Mark wrote a sketch about eggs once, about someone calling someone an egg. It was a weird sketch. He kind of just wrote it down as an exercise in writing, but I kind of became obsessed with it, and then everyone became obsessed with it. And we tried it on stage a bunch of times, and no one ever laughed because it was just a little half joke kind of idea. And then we doubled down on it and put it into a show, the same sketch 4 times in a row.
Is it a test show? In a
test show, we did it 4 times. And then that was the trigger point that made Adrian leave the group.
That show. That's funny.
And the sketch was, just to be clear, it was 4 different riffs on this idea that someone would be like, one person would say to person 1 would say to person 2, "You're an egg." And then person 2 would go, "I am not an egg." And then they'd list the reasons that they're not an egg. Like they go, "An egg has a yolk. I do not have a yolk. I have blood and bones. An egg has a shell. There's no shell on me. This is skin." And then they go, "All right, sorry for calling you an egg. Let me give you a hug." And then the person would go, "Don't hug me. I'll crack because I'm an egg." And that was, again, not a great sketch. Just a dumb thought. We did it 4 times. And every time the person's justifications for not being an egg got different. But at the end, they were always an egg. And then a member left the group. And a member of Aunty
wasn't quite working. So we did it 4 times. If you are on YouTube, the link is now in the comments. We're just going to fill from here on out. So all of you on YouTube, go to this link. I'm about to post it on Facebook. It's to the egg bloopers. Go watch it. You can be the first to watch it. It's a fun video. We're hoping to do more bloopers. As you would have seen in these commentaries, there's so much like fun stuff. We've also uploaded it to Facebook. So if you're watching on Facebook, just go straight to the video on Facebook, and I'll see if it's on Twitter, but we'll upload it very soon on Twitter. I'll even do the link in the comments. So thank you so much for watching this little experiment in commentary. Go watch this egg bloopers video live now on our YouTube.
Live right now.
And
hold on, I'll
live
post
right
the link.
now, and you can talk to each other in the comments. I believe I have posted the link. I think it's pinned to the top of the YouTube.
Oh, you did? But
unless I haven't.
No, you probably
That's
did.
What we were,
it's just not in all the other ones.
That's what you were filling. No, but it's I'll go do that now on the Twitter. But go watch that sketch.
That's all right.
Thank you so much.
I can post it to everyone at the same time. Look at this. Go check it out. Go check it out.
Wow.
Everybody.
That's amazing.
I'm going to spam the fuck out of y'all.
Go watch it right now. But otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you, Broden. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Broden.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Go watch egg bloopers.
Aunty Donna's big old house of fun. We hope you're liking season 1. If not, get fucked and leave your dog. Just joking, please keep watching. Aunty Donna's big old house of fun. We hope you're liking season 1. If not, get fucked and leave your dog. Just joking, please keep watching.